Okay, you ready? So, for simplicity reasons, just like vehicle finance, we only find monthly payments. We do not calculate bi-weekly, weekly, semi-monthly, all of that. But a bank would definitely offer you that. Here are the formulas you need. However, watch what it says here. These formulas are identical to what? Good old vehicle finance. The only difference is, what did we call the price minus the down payment? We did not call it mortgage. We called it loan. But a mortgage is really a loan. It's just towards real estate. So what's the difference? Why don't you just call it loan? Because mortgage is, the interest rates are lower and it's over a much longer period of time. They would never amortize over 25 years for a car. They would never do that. A bank would just absolutely not do that because they know that the value of the car would be nothing in 25 years, right? Whereas as a house, it goes up over time. Hopefully, right? So interest paid the first month. This is just lowercase I. You take your mortgage, right? How about you're doing some highlighting here, right? That mortgage is what you use for it. It's also basically your unpaid balance times the interest rate divided by 100, all of that divided by 12, because you only want 1 month worth of interest. That's why you divide by 12. First month's principal, watch what I do there. Yeah. I basically take this I here and I just subtract it, right? You take your payment and just subtract the interest you calculated to find the principal. Remember, the principal is not our principal here. The principal here is the amount that actually goes towards paying off your mortgage. Total paid to the bank, TPB, is payments times 12 times the number of years. Exactly the same as vehicle finance. Total interest, you basically take total paid to the bank. It's copy paste, but what's the difference here? We're going to subtract the amount they gave us to begin with. And that difference is their interest. That's what they earned. Okay? It's basically their paycheck. It's just a really big paycheck over a long period of time. Okay? Total paid for the house. This one is very rare. In this booklet, I don't think you'll see it, but I might ask you this on a quiz or AC. Okay? So total paid for the house, you essentially take this, this is total paid to the bank. Let's say that. Total paid to the bank plus your down payment, right? Essentially, you can say, hey, this is how much I paid the bank over the 25 years or 20 years or 15. And obviously, you have to take into account the down payment because that also came out of your pocket, right? So this would be like ultimately how much you paid for the house overall. Think about it this way, just to give you perspective. When I moved to Canada, this was in 2002. Were you born already in 2000? You were? I don't, it depends. Anyways, a decent house was $100,000. That same house right now is probably $400,000. I'm kicking myself every time. I'm like, I should have bought a house right away. Should have bought a house right away. But I didn't, right? For various reasons, I was studying and, so anyways, it's likely that a house that is 300 or 400,000 now will be 800,000 in 20 or 25 years. I hope not. I think it's too crazy, right? Because it makes it really hard for other people to buy a house, right? So I actually prefer, because I'm thinking of my kids, I'm thinking of you. You have to buy a house, right? I don't want it to go up too crazy that you can't afford it, right? So I'm a little biased there. Other people would love for the price to go up, right? Okay, let's talk. I think I want to talk about these things here. I got too excited and I almost overdid it here, but I think I'm going to skip this for now. The nitty gritty, but I'm going to go over this. To decrease the total interest paid, this is very important. If you want to try to save on interest that comes out of your pocket and goes into the bank's pocket, these are the things you can do. You can either add or increase a payment, your payment. So let's say your payment is $2,000 a month. You're like, nope, I'm going to pay it off faster. I'm going to do $2,200 a month. So you either add a second payment that is worth $200 or something. You can do lump sum. You can do once a year. When your birthday comes around, your parents give you $1,000. Not mine, but maybe yours. I never got $1,000 for my birthday. But anyways, you maybe Christmas, right? You put it on there and you pay it off faster. But then again, you need to live and you need to do other things. I agree with that, right? Let's go to the next page, 26. Another way to save total interest is to increase the payment frequency. What in the world does that mean? Page 26 at the very top here. Increasing the frequency. So you go from monthly to, let's say, accelerated bi-weekly, right? So if you go from a monthly payment and you skip to this one, that's the way to go. Like, you're gonna pay it off faster. Look at this. Just watch this line right here. Amortization. If you stuck with that $2,100 payment, it would take you 25 years to pay off the mortgage, right? What if you go to accelerated bi-weekly, which is every 2 weeks? What happens to the time it takes you? You shave off almost 4 years just by going bi-weekly. And I will explain why that is if time allows, not today, down the road. I'm going to explain that to you, why you end up saving interest and time. Okay? So, okay, hold on. You're young, you're like, it's down the road for me. Think about it this way, guys. If you could, 4 years, in 4 years, save yourselves this payment of 21, imagine 4 years where you don't have to make that payment because you're done sooner. How much would that be? 4 years is 48 months, right? Times 2118. Wouldn't you like to have $100,000 in your pocket, right? If you ask me, I'd be like, yeah, bring it, right? I'll like 100,000. Thank you very much. It's worth a lot now. It's gonna be worth a lot then. Not as much, but it will still be worth a lot. Keep going. We're doing math in a bit, so hang in there. Another way you can do that is by increasing your down payment. Okay, increasing your down payment, and last but not least, decreasing the amortization period. Paying off the loan faster means that there's less time for the loan to accrue interest. Okay. But please don't do this. Don't be too ambitious. What do I mean by being too ambitious? Don't go into the office when you're about to sign your mortgage and they're like, would you like a 25-year mortgage? And you'll be like, no, I want to do 20. When you sign for a 20, your payment is going to be quite a bit higher. You are bound to that payment. You cannot say, I want to pay less now. I can't do it. You cannot do it. You're bound. So what I would suggest is, just like a car, you go for the 25-year amortization, but then you say add a second payment at the same time of the regular payment, like this one. Add a second payment for, like, let's say $200 a month, and pay it off faster that way, because you can always cancel that second payment. if times are tough, right? So I'm just giving you that. Because I almost went for that, and my financial advisor said, maybe don't do that. Maybe just set up a second payment, because you never know. Once you have kids, you might need more money. And sure enough, I needed money down the road. So I'm glad I didn't do that. Okay, page 27. You're with me? Wake up, wake up. We're going to do some math now. You purchased a home for $345,000. Let's highlight the important pieces. That's the value of the home. You saved up a 6% down payment. The remaining amount will need to be mortgaged at 5.5 per year, and it's going to be over 25 years. She chose a 5-year term to lock in the rate for 5 years. Guys, in terms of math, that shouldn't affect you one bit. This statement does not affect any of the math we do. But it's just a side note that this rate is locked in for 5 years. I've added this because on one provincial exam, students freaked out about this. They thought it was a 5-year amortization. They're like, what about 25 and the 5? Like, what's going on here? And it's like, no, don't worry about that. That's just a side note. This is really how long you will take to pay it off. All right? Let's keep going here. Determine the amount of the down payment, then calculate the monthly mortgage payment. So you notice that the down payment is not a dollar amount. So let's calculate that first. Down would be $345,000 times 6%. That would be 0.06. Let's figure out what that is. Grab your calculators and follow me, right? You will only learn math by doing math. Okay. 20,700 exactly. So that's not too bad. I'm going to underline that. Okay. Now, we want to find out the payment. So what you do here is just like before. You take the 345, you subtract the 20,700. What do we do now? Anybody remember? A table. What table? The pink one. You should have all received a pink table yesterday. If you didn't, anybody need this? Or what are the two that I have? One for you, and one for you. You need it? You have it? You have it? Yeah. Last call. Nice, thank you. Sticks out. Okay, so go find that rate. I'm going to grab one too for myself. So this one you need for all ACs, quizzes, tests, you name it, you need this one. So it's a 5.5% interest rate. 610, there we go. There it is, 610. 610 what? What does it always say at the top? Per $1,000 of loan. That's it. That is why we go 610 for every $1,000 you borrow. Okay. Let's figure out this and just put it here right under the bracket. I would really encourage you to do that because you're going to need that number. So subtract it, that is 324. That is the mortgage. That is what you're borrowing. I'm going to put MTG here. Okay. Almost looks like MTY. It's MTG. Okay. So let's figure out the payment. So once you have the mortgage, you multiply that by 6.1 divided by 1,000. $1978.23. There is your payment per month. All our payments are per month. Okay. Calculate the total amount paid to the bank over the life of the mortgage. I would like you to use common sense here. Total paid to the bank. You should notice, well, I'm paying $1978.23 every month, and that happens in this case over 25 years. Okay. Times 12 times 25, 590. That is pretty crazy, isn't it? I don't know if you see what I'm seeing, but I bought a house for this much. I borrowed $324,000, and when I'm done, I will have paid back this much. I'm not making this up. This is probably true, especially with the interest rates the way they are right now. It's almost double, almost. So that's the answer right there. That's how much you paid the bank. If you do an emoji that is like with big eyes, like what? This is where you would add that right now. Determine the amount of the first month's payment that goes towards interest. This should ring a bell. This is I. It's asking for I, right? I. This is where you make an arrow go from up here, the mortgage, right? We're going to bring that down. That is the unpaid balance. That's what's going to go in here. So you take the 324,300. You multiply by the interest rate divided by 100. So I'm dividing by 100 already when I do this. All of that divided by 12. Hold it. Let's do this on the side here. 5.5% divided by 100 is 0.055. Okay, so you're not wondering where that came from. So I take the 324,300 times 0.055 divided by 12. 1486.38 if you round that. This is how much you most likely will have to pay the other owner because they have to wait for that money to be transferred to them. So this is like a month worth of interest. Okay. Does that number make sense? You always compare that to your payment. Your payment is 1978. Out of that, 1486 is going to go to the bank. That's their profit. And only what's left goes towards paying off your mortgage. So let's figure that out. The principal paid on the first month, principal is 1978.23 minus 1486.38. Principal is 491.85. And let's do this. These two, they make up your payment of 1978.23. Right? So these two components make up your payment. Right? That's important to understand. We did that in vehicle finance, but that was the very first unit we did. Right? Calculate how much interest you would have paid by the end of the mortgage. So interest paid by the end of the mortgage, right? asking for TI. Okay? Asking for TI. Total interest is payment times 12 times 25. This is known as how much you paid the bank minus the mortgage, 324, 300. So what you want to do for tomorrow is make sure you have these formulas. Right, so this is 593, 469 because we did this already in B, minus 324, 300. Let's figure that out. 593, 469. That's 269, 169. There we go. Have I asked for everything you could possibly ask for? No, I didn't. You would be here for a long time. But I could ask, how could you lower your monthly payment? How could you lower your monthly payment? You could tell me, well, put down a bigger down payment. Increase your amortization period. Go for 30 years if possible, right? Look for a cheaper interest rate, a lower interest rate. Good luck with that, by the way. You're not going to find a whole lot lower than what's out on the market. Maybe by a little bit, but not by a whole lot. Banks kind of all have about the same. It's still worth looking around, for sure. Okay. We have 15 minutes left. So I want you to do page 28 on your own right now. I'm going to say 28, 29. So whatever you don't finish today, you do it for homework. So I'll write it down here. Homework 28 to 29. And I will post the key for that. Make sure you do one before you leave today. Did I say homework? There's not much left, guys, of the year. Do you know that, right? After this week, 4 weeks. So don't let off the gas right now. You got to keep going. Okay? Thank you.